Hello, welcome. So do you ever start something like this and you're just like in your head about how to actually start it off? Like, where do I start? What do I talk about? Even though I know what I'm talking about. This episode today is going to be about winning mindset shifts for running a successful business because it's super, super important. And we are following the chapters, if you didn't already know, in the book Business Fundamentals, which was my best-selling book in 2024. And I'm so excited to be taking you through and walking you through the topics that I explored in there. So if you haven't got your hands on it yet, check out the link in the show notes, get your hands on it because it's such a great book, as recommended by a lot of people that have read it. So yes, today we're talking about winning mindset shifts for running a successful business. And I love this topic because although I love like the strategy, the organisation, the systems and processes, that is the stuff that I'm all about. However, that doesn't happen without having some mindset shifts. Like, success in your business does not happen without mindset shifts. So I actually decided to play around with this topic today and use ChatGPT because I just love using that. Like, you can use it as your business coach. I'm going to do myself out of service here. No, you can to a point, but you can ask it questions and it's really interesting what it feeds back. And I love doing this and I love playing with it. So I thought for this episode I'm going to play with it and see what ChatGPT was telling me and the mindset shifts that you need for running a successful business. And what's really interesting is it gave me 10, which were great, and I'm going to talk about those. I've literally just copied the mantras, like the statements that it's given, and I will then talk about that. But it didn't give you the top 3 that I do share inside my book and that I do teach on a lot, that I believe are really important to reframe to become successful in business. So that was really interesting. But let's get started in diving into those. I will share the ChatGPT 10 and then I will share mine. So, as we all know, mindset is important. And I think in the beginning, what happens is you are all geared up and everything seems possible. You get excited, going to start a business. Sometimes I fall into business. I definitely fell into business. Like, this was not part of the plan. It just happened. I was one day making things from home. Thought, oh, I can sell these. Loads of people were saying that, like, oh, you should sell those sock monkeys. For anyone that doesn't know, I used to run a keepsakes business, and in the very early days, I was at home on maternity leave making sock monkeys because I was bored. I'd gone from working 2 jobs to being bored, so I started sewing. Ended up being in a little corner of the living room, and then eventually it became a keepsakes business. Eventually I started running networking events, and then from there I started teaching business to other business owners. Kind of got obsessed with business along the way, learning it, still obsessed with it. Love learning new things because there's always more to learn, always more to do, which is really interesting because it does come into one of these mindset shifts that you need to be successful in business, and we'll come to that at the time. So the 10 shifts that ChatGPT gave me was, the first one was, I have to work hard to succeed. And I do believe this is something that we are conditioned, because when we're born, we kind of, you grow up and you go to nursery, you go to school, and then the usual done thing is either you go to college or you go to university, you get a job, and that's what we're taught. And a lot of the time we see our family, our parents, working hard. Depends on the family dynamic, but I definitely did. I saw my parents working more hours as we got older because they could, because we didn't depend on them as much. So I could look after my sisters, so I could be at home with those. My parents could work more. Whether that was my dad doing overtime or my mum working later. So he went to work earlier, she finished work later as we got older. And it creates this narrative when we see that happening, that if we want more money to get more things, to have more things, like, we always had like amazing holidays, really nice Christmases, some really nice memories. I remember when we got a bit older, we got like the Nintendo DS's when they came out. I had one like before me, all of my friends, because we got it from abroad, which was amazing. We had the Nintendo Wii when that came out, and it was, I think we ended up with like a PS4 at some point. And that was because my parents worked hard to succeed in getting those things, for pay for the holidays, to get the car, to take us to the seaside and all those things. But what happens is, as we watch our parents do those things, is we get this belief that we need to work hard to succeed. And the mindset shift that ChatGPT threw out was that it's going from I have to work hard to succeed to I need to work smart to succeed. And it's so right. I am such an advocate of working smarter. I'm that much of an advocate of it. I'm working smarter right now because I'm recording this podcast on Riverside, which is an amazing platform. I'm getting to grips with it, but because I'm very new to it, but I am loving it so far because of what it can do. Like, the technology we have these days does allow us to work smarter. So if you're working smart to succeed and you step into that mindset shift, instead of having to work hard, how can you work smart? It definitely serves you well. So for example, working hard could be, like, at the time of recording this podcast, it's half term. So I could convince myself that I have to work all week to make more money. When the reality is, if I'm smart about the way I work, then I won't have to work all week while the kids are at home. So what I have done is, I'm doing this right now, and then when I finish, my husband's going to go to the gym and get his hair cut. When he gets back, I'm going to go to the gym and spa and then come back, and then I think we're going to watch the new Mufasa film that's out on Disney Plus, and watch that together. And, like, because I'm smart about what I'm doing, because I'm organised, because I've planned in advance, it means I get to work smarter and succeed. So what I mean by that is, this week I've got all my content scheduled out during half term for my business, and also I'm recording this podcast episode to go on the podcast, but I'll also send it to YouTube. I will also download the transcript. I will also then turn that into reels, and then I will also turn that into a carousel, other reels, quotes, things like that, just from this one piece of content. I could even turn it into a blog, an email. Like, the possibilities are endless, and that to me is what working smart looks like. So we don't have to work hard, we can work smarter, so we can get stuff done in less time. We can get more out of the time that we have because we can be efficient, we can optimise it with the resources that we have these days. So that first mindset shift was really, really interesting. The second one I struggle with and it was, I need to do everything myself, and reframing it to I can delegate and leverage support. And I feel like this is a massive one for most business owners, not even just in business but in life as well, like mums who don't want to ask for help. It could be with, like, family and friends situations, and actually sometimes those dynamics can affect your business, because if you're doing everything yourself, then how can you give more to your business to make it succeed? So that mindset shift really is something that needs to be adapted. So I need to do everything myself, reframed into I can delegate and leverage support. And let me tell you, like, delegation doesn't always mean that you have to hire support. It doesn't mean you have to pay for it. Sometimes it can just mean that you ask your children to help out with things. Yeah, I know there's going to be mums there listening, like, right now, laughing, going, yeah, right. Because I know how hard it is to get the kids to, like, tidy their room. Oldest is 11 now, trying to get him to do something in the house. It feels near impossible. We are going to have to push that though, because at the end of the day, he's getting older. He's going to fly the nest one day, and he's going to have to be able to learn how to do these things for himself. So actually, we're teaching him, not just taking stuff off our plate, but we're teaching them good skills. But it's leveraging support as well. So it's not always about just handing a task over. It's actually giving people responsibility for things, and it's leveraging support that you need in order for you to be enabled to run your business. But it does, like, bleed out into other areas of life as well. But I'm going to stick to business today. So what can you delegate that doesn't actually have to cost? So sometimes this could be, I'm trying to think of the common scenarios that business owners face. So it might be childcare, for example, is a challenge. So if that is something, maybe the kids are off school and you need to do some work, but you've got the kids at home, then one thing you can do is you can delegate by doing a childcare swap. Like, if you give your kids to someone else and they watch them for the day, maybe you can do that in return for them, so they can go do whatever they need to do. So you're giving yourself that time, and it's like a nice give and take situation. I know that's not always available for everybody, but there is different situations as well. Can you delegate the housework? Can you delegate something, because you don't need to do everything yourself? And this was a massive, massive challenge for me in my business in particular, because I am very particular about the way I do things, but also I like to work with the experts in their industries, because I know what I know. I know quite a lot when it comes to websites, when it comes to funnels and systems and strategy. Because I know a lot, sometimes it can be quite challenging to bring someone on to do a job for me, because I know they're not doing it to my standard. So then I have a choice in that delegation process is, how can I support them to support me? So remember that when you are delegating things, where you are stepping back from doing everything yourself, how can you support that person to support you? So that's an interesting one. This one's a massive one. So sales feels pushy. Reframing that into sales are an act of service, because they are. I actually say this one a lot, but it is not in my top 3. But it is so common that a lot of people don't sell when it comes to social media marketing, email marketing, or the different varieties of marketing. Like, they don't actually sell because they feel pushy by acting for the sale. But actually, if you think about it this way, if you've got people in your audience that have a problem that you can solve, if you're not selling something to them to solve that problem, then you're doing them a disservice. So how can you sell to them as an act of service? That is just a really simple reframe. Like, when you see it that way, it changes the game. But we do have to keep on doing activities to remind ourselves to remember that sales is an act of service, and be consistent with selling. A lot of the time, the reason people don't sell is because they get back into this mindset of, this feels icky. They think of this the negative sales tactics that we've all experienced. People cold calling you, knocking on your door, people stopping you in the street, people sending you those emails that you really don't want to receive because you've already got 1,000 in your mailbox, right? We feel of those pushy sales tactics, but you're not doing it that way. And I'm pretty sure that anyone listening to my podcast will not be doing it that way, because I don't teach that way. So there is ways that you can do it as an act of service, in a way of giving value and helping people, solving problems and offering solutions. So sales doesn't have to feel pushy. It is an act of service. Another one is going from, I'll wait until everything is perfect, and reframing that into, I'll take action and improve as I go. This is another one that I have massively struggled with, because I'm a Virgo through and through. And if you know anything about Virgos, we are perfectionists. I will say that I've adapted though. I am not as much as a perfectionist as I used to be, but Virgos are perfectionists. And basically, sometimes we wait until everything's perfect. And again, that does not serve us well. I've got a story that really disproves this belief. And gets you taking action and improving as you go. So, when my husband first had his surgeries and problems with his knee, we were talking about getting married. We had one child at the time. I actually got pregnant as we set the wedding date. But what happened between that time, between having our first child and our second and setting the wedding date, is we talked about this. Like, are we going to wait until you've had your surgery, until your knee's fixed, until we get married? And at first we were like, yeah, but then we really wanted to get married, so we changed our minds and we decided, you know what, we'll just set the date. We had a bit of money in the bank and we set the date. Ironically, I found out 2 weeks later that I was actually pregnant, and we planned that as well. So that was a bit daft, but it was challenging. It was a lot, but obviously don't regret it. So, had we waited until his knee was fixed to get married, we would not have been married today. So if we waited until everything was perfect, we would have probably, I can't know this because this is in another dimension, right? This is in another universe, metaverse, whatever. But if we hadn't taken that action and booked the date and taken the action, then potentially we could have been sat here now, not married, not having the amazing memories that we do have from our wedding day and the time around it and the holiday that we had and stuff. So, like, it's just, looking back, just to think we would have not have done that because we'd allowed perfection to hold us back. So thinking about this, like, where are you allowing perfection to hold you back? Where is your mindset showing up in terms of this, when instead you can take action and improve as you go along? So that's my little story to help with that one. The next one is I can't charge that much, and reframing it into I provide value that justifies my price. This is another one that I've struggled with in the past, and I guess these have come up because they are so common. But often when you price correctly, strategically, so that you are covering your costs, it's worth your time, and so that you're profiting, then often you might be met with a block. That means that you think people are not going to pay this, nobody can afford this, so I can't charge that much. That belief, that shift, that mindset shift that needs to happen, it actually comes with a lot of other limiting beliefs as well. And instead, it's reframing it into I provide value that justifies my price. Because you can make sure that the value you deliver does justify your price. You can over deliver as well. But in the past, when I realised that for me to hit the financial goals that I want to hit, and I've just reassessed my whole pricing system again, I always am analysing it, because when you recognise how many people you have to work with in a certain service, how much time that takes for what you're providing, realistically you'll have to overwork, or you might burn out. It might not be what you want to do, and it's got to feel like what you want to do. So how can you provide value that justifies your price and helps you reach your financial goals? But think about that mindset shift. If you are feeling this is what I want to charge, this is what I need to charge, but your mindset is saying I can't charge that much, then I want you to flip it and say I provide value that justifies my price, because you can provide value. And if you feel like your value, maybe if you're in the beginning, you're just getting started, because obviously value and what something's worth kind of comes with experience sometimes as well, and it doesn't justify it, then do the thing that you need to do to justify it. For example, I'm working with a client right now who, when we first met and she came to work with me, just starting out, very bare bones of not even a business, right? She wasn't even qualified. So we've been working together for months, and now she's just about to get her qualification. So she's been doing this work, preparing herself for business. She's already got clients actually in the time that we've been working together. She's got 7 one-to-one clients, but she's been working on her qualifications, been getting that, been prepared so that she can provide value that will justify her price. So you can always learn more, you can always get qualified, you can always do the thing that will justify your price. This one was interesting. So from failure is the end to failure is feedback. I love that one. It's not something I've heard before, but it's true. So I think when we're doing something in business and we're so afraid to do it because of failing, and we don't do it, like this year, 2025, I am running business innovation celebration, my business event. It's going to be massive, or massive for me anyway, because my biggest event I've run had 30 people, which was last year when I launched my book. And I wanted to do things bigger. This has been in my mind, like I can see it clearly, this vision I've had for 2 years now, where I wanted to get 100 people in a room. I wanted to have my own stage. I wanted to bring people together. And actually I saw my own mentors on stage with me. And I thought, how am I going to make this happen? I stopped acting how, and I just took action. And I'm so, like, even still now, I'm so scared that I won't, well, actually, make enough money, make profit from it. The reality is, as I have now learned, is you're never going to make a profit from your first event, because I want to do this again. So the money that I will get from this event, I will need to save, and that I will invest in next year's event, and then next year I'll profit from this. But it's not always just about the money, it's about everything else that I get out of that. It's the experience, it's the connecting with everybody in the room, everybody seeing what I can create, and so much more. And what I can give to people as well. So much more. But I'm not going to talk about this as if I'm going to fail, because I don't want to manifest it. But let's use an example that I have failed before. I launched a mastermind and nobody bought. I was absolutely gutted. Now, previous me would have sold something. I see this all the time in business owners as well. I'm realising now that this is probably going to be quite a lengthy episode, but I feel like it's gold, and I feel like mindset is something that I know you need to hear and that people need to reframe and work on in order to be successful. So let's just keep going with it. So with that mastermind launch, what happened was I didn't sell any spaces. I was gutted. Previous me would have not done it again. I'd have then gone and sold something else because my belief was, I failed, that's the end of that. So that belief, failure is the end. And I see this all the time. But the reality is, failure is feedback. Instead, if I can look at that failure and I can audit it and look at actually what happened, I can change things, I can make it better, which is exactly what I did in that situation. And I launched it again, and I got 4 people come and work with me with that time. And then following on a few months later, I think I had like 3 more people sign up, which was amazing. So failure is not the end. Failure is the feedback that you need to make the thing successful. So we need to always bear that in mind when something doesn't work out. I remember being at a retreat that summer when it failed and it didn't take off. Someone there said to me, so what are you going to do now, Dani? And I said, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to sell it until it succeeds. Because I believed in this thing that I created. And I was excited to deliver it. So I just went with it and did it again. And I adjusted and I got the results. So yeah, definitely important. Next one is I need more followers to be successful. So this might be something that you're thinking you need 10,000 followers, 20,000, millions. You don't need that amount of people to be successful. We reframe that into I need more aligned clients. So what you actually need is aligned clients to be successful, because if you've got aligned clients, they might spread the word about you for you, going to give you amazing testimonials, feedback. That will do yourself a great service. But I have got a story behind this as well. So needing more followers to be successful. I remember when my keepsakes business took off, it was doing really, really well. I was fully booked, months in advance, keepsakes, rushed off my feet. I was still working at the time as well, so it was very, very rushed off my feet. And I think I only had like 200 people in a Facebook group. My actual business page originally did get to 10,000 followers after running it for over 6 years. But what happened was someone came into my Facebook group and they were messaging like, and commenting and saying, because I'd started teaching business at this point, and they were like, ha ha ha, you don't know what you're talking about, you can't even be successful yourself, your group is dead, you've got no engagement. And I'm like, I actually responded and said, do you realise that is just a vanity metric? Like, I don't care about having no engagement in my Facebook group, because I can see the amount of DMs that I've got of people wanting to buy keepsakes, and also the money that's in the bank. Like, it made me laugh. I laughed in response to that comment because I could have been hurt with it. But she saw that I needed more group members and that I needed engagement to be successful. And that was not true at all. I just needed those aligned buyers that wanted the thing that I was selling. And that's exactly what I had. So you don't need the 10k. You don't need the, masses of comments. You just don't. You can do it without. So I want you to eliminate that and have that mindset shift that you just need more aligned clients. You don't need more followers to be successful. Although it is a wise idea to have an audience growth strategy. Just saying. Next one. Marketing is just posting on social media. Reframing that to marketing is building relationships. Yes, the just posting on social media as a strategy really is a bugbear of mine, because every time I ask someone, what's your strategy? Like, what's your marketing plan? They'll go, well, I post to Facebook, I post to Instagram. I'm like, nope. I want the individual details of what you are doing to get your ideal clients into your audience, to nurture them, to sell to them. And I ask this and I go deeper and I still get the same response back. I'm posting on Instagram. No. I want to know specifically, like, how is this working? How? And I know that if you don't know what you don't know. But it is just that. Reframing marketing is just posting on social media into marketing is building relationships, because you've got to be doing so much more than just posting on social media. Even social media posting alone, there's more than just putting a post out. There's different types of posts for starters. There's different places you can post. And I could list those all day, because there's so many ways you can use social media for free to market your business. But it's so much more than that. It's about the conversations that you're having, the people you're meeting in person, where you're going networking, the guest appearances you're doing. So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to speak at an event in Bingley, which is just up the road from me, really. Well, if you're driving, it is. But yeah, it's not far. And I'm going to be speaking there in person, all about email marketing and monetizing it. That same week, I'm off to a business event, which means I'll get to be with people in person, build relationships, share who I am, what I do. That same week, I am also... Where am I on the Monday? Oh, no, I'm having a concert shoot that day, so I'm not really doing anything there that's building relationships. But I've got 2 examples there that week. I'm speaking at an event. I'm presenting myself as the expert. And the day after that, I am going and I am getting in a room with people and like saying who I am, what I do, connecting with people, building relationships. And that is marketing. And I love that because it gets to be easy, it gets to be fun, sometimes it gets to be free. So, yeah, going and building relationships is essential for your marketing and mastering that. So don't just see just posting on social media as your strategy. So much more than that. And then we're on number 9 now. So ChatGPT, remember these are from ChatGPT. I'll share mine shortly. Is I have to say yes to every opportunity, and reframing that into I can choose what aligns with my vision. And I see some mentors in the online space telling you to say yes to everything. And that is a major red flag right there. Because if you say yes to everything, it's likely that you'll start to resent the work that you're doing. You'll start to burn out. It won't feel good. So instead, I want you to learn to... ironic that I say this because I do struggle with sitting with my intuition, but I'm working on it. Is to sit and say yes to opportunities that do feel right to you. Because you do get to choose. You do get to choose the things that align with your vision. And actually, it's a really smart strategy to reframe into this mindset of I can choose what aligns with my vision. I shared a strategy with my clients about on a daily basis looking like as you plan your day, as you set your intentions at where you're actually spending your time. And I had like a 3-step process. The first step was, what are my goals? So answer that question for yourself, what are your goals? Second step was, what is the actions I'm taking today? And then the third step was, do these actions align with my goals and visions? Because otherwise we can be falling into a trap of doing so many shiny things that look good but actually don't align with our vision. So definitely you don't have to take on every single opportunity. Take on what feels good to you, what you can fit in. It can always be a no for now, but choose what aligns with your vision. It's really, really important. And then this final one from ChatGPT was, I'm not ready, and reframing that into I'm ready now. I don't really like this one because I'm ready now, like you can tell yourself that, but you're not going to feel it. However, I do believe that you're never ready for everything. Again, another story with this. I believe that we are not ready for the things that are given to us, but they do serve us in the best way possible. So, for example, as a parent, if you listen to this and you're a parent, can you tell me, hand on heart, 100% that when you became a parent, you were ready for that? Because I guarantee you weren't. Like, nobody is ready or can ever be ready for the sleepless nights, for the leaky nipples. Nobody can be ready for what hits you. Like, I definitely wasn't. There was stuff that people didn't tell me about giving birth and after giving birth. Like, I didn't know. It came as a massive shock. Like, why they did not teach this at school, I do not know. There was certain stuff that we missed out and it is a massive problem. But I was not ready for that. However, we build confidence in doing the thing and being ready for it by just doing it. So obviously, after having that experience, the second time round, I was ready. I knew what to expect. Of course, the experience wasn't going to be exactly the same. And it was far from that. It was completely different. Each time I had a child, it was completely different. However, I was a little bit more ready each time. I knew what to expect. I knew what was possible because not only had I experienced it before, but I'd gained the knowledge and understanding of the situation, of myself a bit more, of how my husband might be feeling, and so on. So it's the same in business. The things you don't feel ready for, you just have to go and do it anyway. I do not feel ready to host a room full of 100 people. That's a little bit scary. But I'm in this era of, you know what, face the fear and do it anyway, and just do it, because if I don't do it, I'll never do it. And yeah, it's scary, but I see that vision so clear in my mind, even though I don't feel ready for it, because it's so new, and there's so many questions I have about running a big event like that. But I know I'll learn it along the way. I'll learn it in doing it and connecting with other people to get myself ready, so that this time next year I'll have already done that, I'll have overcome that, and I'll be ready. But there will still be things that hold me back in terms of my mindset, because there's always stuff to work on, always stuff to improve on. So that final one, reframing from I'm not ready to I'm ready now, we definitely need to do some work on that. And I want to talk to you through my ones. So my top 3 are: I don't have enough time, I can't afford to, and I don't know how. And this is because I see these so much. I find that they're so common. And I do believe that it's really important to reframe them. But I believe it's important to stop making excuses as well. We are so conditioned to believe these things, or we form a habit of saying these things, that actually it's not justifiable. So I don't have enough time. Reframe that into I make time for what matters. When you reframe it like that, you can recognise how you can actually start to change your behaviour to prioritising income producing activities and create time for what moves the business forward. So if I give you a strategy, for example, let's say email marketing, get that set up, start sending emails every week. A lot of people go, I don't have time for that. But if you think about making time for what matters, it's gonna produce income, and it's gonna move your business forward. And realistically, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket with social media. So that's just one example, but making time for what matters, which is business growth, which is success, which is income producing activities, making time for that will get you the results that you want. So this is a massive mindset shift for success. You need to stop telling yourself, I don't have enough time, and start recognising where you need to instead prioritise your time and make time for what does matter. And this is not always the business activities. Sometimes this might be your health. Like today I'm off to the gym at the spa. It might be your family. Today I plan to watch a film with my family. So it's all of those things. My second one, I can't afford to. I remember saying this a lot. I'm so much better with this now. Like, I got asked recently, are you coming to this retreat? I was like, when I first responded, I was like, I can't afford it. And actually I corrected myself. I said, I can afford it. However, that's not my priority right now. That's what I actually said. It's not my priority to spend money on that thing right now. So I reframed that from I can't afford it. Either do it to how can I afford to, or that's not a priority for me to spend money on right now. And I practice this with the kids now, because if you ask the kids what do you want for tea, they are going to say McDonald's. And I always say to them, instead of we don't have enough money for that, because that's a lie. That is not the truth. We can afford a McDonald's tonight for tea if we so wish. And I'm grateful for that. So instead, what I do is say, well, we do have the money for it, but it is quite expensive. And I'm at the moment where we're paying for driving lessons. So I'll explain to them that I'm putting a lot of money aside for driving lessons so that we can get a car. So we've got that bigger outcome even. And I will say how unhealthy it is as well, and that I'm working on my health. And I treat them like adults and just be honest. And it's interesting that if I just go, no, can't afford it, they might whine about it or complain and be like, oh, McDonald's. But if I explain it to them that way, actually they kind of accept it, because they agree they want the car as well, because they know that the short-term impact of not having the McDonald's today versus the long-term of having a car where we can go and do things, they look at what's more aligned with them and their vision. They kind of throw out that idea of McDonald's. So we want to do this when it comes to affordability in your business as well, or in life. So like, if something is important for your business growth, then you'll find a way to make it work. So this is a statement you can say to yourself. So if you're wanting to invest in something, a business coach, a course, a microphone for your new podcast, whatever that is, right? I invested in that this month. Instead of saying I can't afford to, it's thinking how can I afford it, and saying to yourself, if this is important for my growth, I will find a way to make it work. Because I realise in some situations it really is not possible, but how can you find a way to make it work? And I actually had a client, when I first started out, when I was a creative business coach, I had a membership. I had a client come in there because she was curious. She wanted to work with me. She actually wanted to learn about email marketing, but she told me she couldn't afford to sign up to my membership because her son's ADHD medication was expensive. But I think they'd gone through private diagnosis, and so she had to pay for his medication, and it was expensive, but he needed it, and she just can't afford to be in my membership. So what she did was, at the time I was doing £1 for the trial, and I think it was something like 1 week, 2 weeks. So she paid that £1. I said to her, you know what, I really want to help you. Pay your £1, do the trial, and then if you really can't stay, just leave, it's fine. And she's like, are you sure I can do that? Like, you don't mind that's taking the making? I was like, no, it's absolutely fine. And it was interesting what happened. She came in, and you know what, I'm not encouraging you to take advantage of people like that, but I wanted to help her, right? She came in, she paid £1, she did that training, she hung about a bit, she had a bit of time, so she had a look at the other stuff, she started asking questions, and then she came back to her trial actually ended, and I knew that she didn't want to stay, so it cancelled. And then she came back to me the day after it cancelled, and she said to me, can I stay? I really want to stay because I can't afford not to be in this membership. She said, what I've just learned, and she told me, I've had a look at your other resources as well, and it's so valuable, I can't afford not to be in here. And what happened was, she went from not being able to afford this membership, which I think was 30 quid at the time, to becoming a full member. She then went on to do my programme, which is my signature programme. It's called Foundations now, but it was called Creative Collective at the time. She did that, and then she went on to do one of my masterminds as well. So it's interesting how she went on from not being able to afford this £30 membership to looking at how can I afford this, because she realised that it was important for her growth, so she found a way to make it work. And she actually said later on, like, she's so glad like she came to work with me, because had she have made the decision to stick to that belief that she can't afford it, she wouldn't have then implemented the income streams that she has now and got to where she's got to today. And she said she was so grateful for herself in making that decision, and I love that. And it was such a nice thing to see. So affordability, like, ask yourself, is this really the case? I remember for me, when we were saving for our wedding, I was like, realistically we can't afford a wedding, so we cut out takeaways. Like, I can't afford the wedding, so I'll cut out takeaways, because again, short-term pain for long-term gain. Like, what I get rid of now and I'm not getting that instant gratification from will give me that long-term thing. Like, and looking back, like, you don't remember the takeaway that you had, what you ordered, how it tasted. You don't remember that, but you do remember the wedding and how that felt to have your hair done, your makeup done, wear that big dress, how it felt to get all those pictures and those memories and dance and all of that. But I could not tell you, like, full description of the last takeaway that I had. I can't even remember the last time I had a takeaway. I think it was about a week ago. Who knows? So it's really interesting. I feel like this masterclass has become this podcast has become a whole masterclass, but it's really important. So this is a long one. I do apologise, but stick with me. We are on the final mindset shift. And this one is from I don't know how to I can learn how. So this is about, if you don't know how to do something in your business, literally reframe it into I can learn how. Like I've already said today, you learn from experience, you learn from doing, so just do the thing. Stop being afraid and do the thing. And this is a mantra that you can say to yourself. I am resourceful and I can figure anything out with the right support and action. And it's true. And we do have, I think I shared this in the last episode actually, we have so much available to us now. YouTube, Google, all these online, these systems, these things that can help teach us for free. There's so many blogs out there, there's so many videos out there, you can learn the thing. And there is a difference between, like, learning it for free and paying for that support, because you get that direct support. However, this is where I started. I started by reading the blogs, watching the free videos, implementing it, because if I implemented those things for free, then I started making the money. So I was being resourceful, figured it out, then I could invest in the right support and take action on that. And that's exactly what I did. So if you're saying to yourself, I don't know how to implement a successful strategy, if I don't know how to get more clients, if I don't know how to add in another income stream, sell out a course, whatever the end goal is, reframe your mindset into I can learn how. And go and do it. Take action on it. So I want to finish off with like a question. I want you to think about which of these 13 mindset shifts feel like the biggest shift for you right now. I am going to recap them. So we've got the ChatGPT 10, which was I have to work hard to succeed, reframed into I need to work smart to succeed. I need to do everything myself, reframed into I can delegate and leverage support. We've got sales feels pushy into sales are an act of service. And then there's I'll wait until everything is perfect, reframed into I'll take action and improve as I go. We have I can't charge that much to I provide value that justifies my price. Failure is the end into failure is feedback. I need more followers to be successful into I need more aligned clients. Marketing is just posting on social media into marketing is building relationships. From I have to say yes to every opportunity to I can choose what aligns with my vision. And the final ChatGPT 10, it's I'm not ready into I'm ready now. And then my mindset shifts for success are I don't have enough time, reframed into I make time for what matters. From I can't afford to into how can I afford to, or if this is important for my growth, I will find a way to make it work. And from I don't know how to I can learn how. So there's 13 mindset shifts for running a successful business. My final thought for you is to help with your strategy, your sales and your systems, to start implementing inner work on a regular basis. Make it a strategy to do the mindset work first and foremost, because that will get you the sales. Have these mindset mantras in mind when you are selling, and have a system that keep these positive mindset shifts in your mind when you're doing the things that you need to do to grow your business. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It has been a long one. I got so into that. Really went deep into each of those. Storytelling. Just love sharing the knowledge on what I do. But if you did enjoy it, please follow, subscribe, rate the show and share it. Show the love, because I'd love to get this out to more people and help more people. Like if we can reframe people's mindset and shift people's mindset, then that would be amazing. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.